What's your status on the apparatus? Puncho, cancel kings. Just taking a look at this video with Sha'Carri Richardson getting into a spat with her boyfriend. You can kind of see it here as reported from TMZ, guys. But it's very interesting to note this because so many men are victims of domestic abuse. We have the unfair stereotype that it's mostly a guy on girl thing, but in actuality, most domestic violence situations are initiated by women, and men just don't talk about it, as is the case with many things like this. But Sha'Carri Richardson is a very popular track star. She's been doing her thing for quite a while now, but she just got recently caught on video surveillance at an airport. I think this is in Phoenix or maybe in Washington State. Not sure which one. But she's fighting her boyfriend, Christian. I can't think of his last name right now. And you can see her just kind of pushing and shoving him. We're going to play some audio from his perspective, and then we're going to look at it from how are Christian men supposed to respond to this? Where are the Christian values in this kind of a relationship? And we're going to dig into that very briefly. But it's a very sad situation that the young brother is going through. His perspective on this. Shout out to Passport OG.
It was just a sucky situation all around. Like, I don't feel as if like she should have been arrested. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you know, people have discussions and emotions and stuff like that. And she have like things that she needs to work on for herself, of course.
Said she shouldn't have been arrested.
So do you, like everybody. And I'm the type of guy like I'm in the business of just like extending grace and mercy and love. And I feel as if like I don't try to look at obstacles either. Like I just look at like situations like this to just like, you know, take a step back, analyze yourself mentally, and then just try to see what you can do to be your best self so that you can move forward, so you can just be the type of person and the human that God needs you to be for his kingdom and for his glory. And so that's kind of how I look at the situation. And like,
now imagine if this were a woman saying that, oh, I don't think my boyfriend, after he beat her up in public and pushed her around, I don't think that he should have been arrested. He's a good person. He's under a lot of stress. They will be asking that young lady, you know, blink twice if you're really okay. And that's part of what this double standard video is about. What should we do as men? And how has the culture changed? And believe it or not, I do believe there has been some cultural shifts and some cultural changes where women have become the aggressor in some situations. Now, don't get me wrong. Men are doing their fair share of making the world a worse place. But we have to also be honest that when we talk about equality and things like that, men are very confused that we have to have a sense of equality towards women, but they still tend to get a leg up in the justice system and how people see them as being the aggressor. Let's continue with this for a little bit, and then we'll get into a little bit more.
And I hate the narrative too of just like, you know what I'm saying, it's so negative. But like I said, it's just like in the state of Seattle, even talking to the cop or whatever, he was just like, it was
Seattle, Washington.
Like, I understood, but I mean, like I said, it was just a sucky situation. But she's a human being and a great person. And I feel like, you know what I'm saying, like we've been able to be like really good teammates like all year. And I hate that narrative too because you know, us coming together like we're just two like real dominant personalities. And she's, to me,
you said they have both have very dominant personalities. You can,
and like, you know,
can see that
my
there.
process, like I just said, like moving training.
Yeah, they are right here, guys.
A whole new environment, a whole new
bottom right near the green sign.
Different than what I've been in the past, like 10 years of my track and field career, and transitioning and then still coming back running 9.8.
She's just like I got so much unabashedly bowing up on this poor guy.
That's my journey, and like
won't let him leave the situation.
And like I watched this girl like fall on the track like in February, walk it off like it was, you know what I'm saying, like a cramp, but get back up and have to take like a month and a half of just like rehab and trying to.
How long has this been going on? Because you can see him being very generous towards her, almost like he's got like a Stockholm syndrome thing. And I don't know their relationship, but he's just being very, very generous with her, being a great person and all these things. And in the meanwhile, he's getting pushed around like a rag doll, and he's not fighting back and he's not engaging in the situation. But man, talk about a victim mentality.
Like a lot of emotions and forces going on inside of her that like not only I can understand, but nobody can, because she one-on-one.
He says she has emotions and forces inside of her that he can't understand, and probably nobody can understand. Imagine, again, we're talking about the frustration that men have with equal rights and how equality in relationships, right? Which is perfectly fine for men and women to be transition to be equal as humans. But imagine a woman saying this. No one can understand him, you know. And on top of that, if he tends to let off a little steam at me because he's frustrated with his career, you know, we both have strong personalities. This is just what happens. Men don't understand this. Either we're going to treat women as children, infantize them, or as other kind of citizens. I don't know what the case is, or we're going to treat them like equals. Is the law going to uphold itself in this situation or not? Let's listen to this for a little bit longer. This is getting kind of crazy. They're now beyond the TSA line, I believe, or somewhere.
911 too. So
Oh,
I
there
know
you go.
everything is happening in God's plan because obviously He's 101, and so
He's spiritualizing it.
Focus in the thing I just wanted to say, and
It's God's
I know
plan.
Like, it's been a tough journey for her this year, but she gonna bounce back. And like I said, I see it every day. She's the best female athlete in the world. She's gonna be just fine. She's gonna be good. I'm gonna be good too.
He's actually upset that she got arrested. And a lot of times that happens with women too. But wow, just a very interesting perspective.
Here's what it is.
Women don't just put their hands on men. So what did Christian Coleman do to Sha'Carri Richardson to cause her to put her hands on him? That's what I want to know. Stop this cap. You know what I'm saying? Y'all talking about this situation. Yo, hey, listen, man. Women don't be putting their hands on men. Women defend themselves from men. You feel me?
When I saw the headline.
So he's saying that women don't just attack men or are the aggressor in relationships. It's always something that a man has done wrong. And I want you to think about that when you're considering your nephews, your cousins that are being abused. They're the victims in this situation. Let's just go with it. They're the victims in this situation, and they're being told by men in the community and also other people that may be in authority, you did something wrong. You did something wrong to deserve this abuse. Isn't that exactly what these hyper aggressive and these dirtbag men say to women when they're abusing them? You wore the wrong outfit or you had the wrong attitude. You deserve this beating. This is wild, guys.
Sha'Carri Richardson getting arrested in Seattle for domestic violence. I was like, oh no, not my girl. Ruining her career so early on when she's already amazing, but she has such a bright future. But then you read the article and it's just petty relationship stuff. I've always been told, because I've never been in a domestic situation, but I've always been told that if the police is called in a domestic situation, somebody's going to jail.
Yeah, if the police are called in domestic, somebody usually goes to jail, even if you don't press charges in many states. I'm not going to say most, but in many.
One of the two people, if it's not a poly relationship, one of the people in the party, somebody's going to jail. But for Sha'Carri, they were in the airport, or she was in the airport with her boyfriend, and they got into an argument, and she just pushed him in the back. And I guess a police officer saw it. And due to them seeing it, they arrested her for a 4th degree assault charge. I didn't know there was a 4th degree.
That's what women do. Because it's usually a man to put hands on a woman. All right? Because a lot of men don't have emotional intelligence and they cannot regulate their emotions. And instead of talking through things, they put their hands on women. Okay? So miss me with this nonsense. All right? He obviously did something.
Okay. I can't take any more of that. But this is the world that we kind of live in, guys, where even though you're the victim, you can somehow turn out to be the aggressor in a situation. That young man made the guy who was being abused, her boyfriend, Christian, he made every excuse for her to verify and to validate him being somehow just a punching bag. He was just helping her let out some stress, maybe. None of this is good. Right. And we have to keep in mind that as men of God, we have a certain standard that we have to have, and women have to have a certain kind of standard too. We see in Leviticus chapter 19, verse 15, you should not do injustice in judgment. You should not be partial to the poor, nor defer the great, but you are to judge your neighbor fairly. So you don't defer to the people who are popular, who are athletes, who are entertainers, who have some kind of clout in society. You treat them fairly. You treat them with the same measure of justice as you would someone who doesn't have power. And that not only goes for her being a celebrity, but it also goes for women. Just because a person is a woman doesn't mean that you as a man deserve to be beat by your girlfriend or to be beat by your mother or to be beat or abused by anybody, right? As a man, you have a right to feel a certain kind of way if you're being mistreated. Don't internalize that and think that there's something automatically wrong with you. Nothing warrants you being physically attacked for something of that nature. And then we go on even further here in Proverbs 25, verse 28. What kind of people are we dealing with? He's making every excuse for his girlfriend. He has a right to do that. I don't know their relationship, but I do know this. Proverbs 25 says that like a city that is broken into and without walls is a man who has no control over his spirit. If someone is in your presence and they have no control over their spirit, they're beating you, abusing you, things of that nature, God did not mean for you to be in that kind of a relationship. Why are you dealing with that kind of person? What are you trying to do to give them some kind of therapy to make them feel better, or to be a punching bag like some people are? Guys, we got to get out of this mindset that we can't be hurt, that we can't be abused. We have to be able to communicate who we are, and we have to be able to be in touch with our emotions to say, hey, this isn't right. This isn't healthy. And if the cops come and she lies, you can be the one going to jail. And what's even worse, what if you decide to retaliate? Now, we're not giving any quarter or any kind of excuse for men who are out there doing these negative things to women. Dirtbags. But we're talking to the good guys here, right? You don't deserve this. You were fearfully and you were wonderfully made as men. God has a purpose for you. And you going through an abusive relationship is not necessary. Okay, guys? I just want to put that in your spirit because I saw this video and it really impacted me. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and end it here. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. We really look forward to hearing you guys. Not many folks are talking about this from this perspective. So be sure to continue to support us. Catch you later.